Hello gorgeous people, here is a new video which is your complete guide to makeup brushes as the title suggests. Now this video will be useful for you whether you're a beginner or if you're looking at a more professional level of makeup application. Now while you're watching this video, I'm sure most of you will roll your eyes thinking, so many different brushes, do we need to make such a big investment to look pretty? The answer is a simple no. All you need to do is make your own decision as to which of these brushes you really need. For example, I know a lot of women who don't contour their face, so then you can skip the process of buying an angled contour brush. So basically just look at what are the kind of makeup products that you use on daily basis and just buy those particular brushes. Now this video will also have different options, so I'll make sure that there are high-end, slightly more expensive brushes and the cheaper alternatives to those. So if you'd like to find out your complete guide to makeup brushes, then please keep watching. Now the first step to makeup application most of the time is foundation. Now a lot of you might be familiar with a traditional foundation brush that looks like this. Now this you can find it in any particular brand. The one that I have right now is from Makeup Station. Don't buy it, I absolutely hate it. But yeah, this is what a traditional foundation application brush looks like, whether it's liquid or cream foundation. But what I like to use is a fat buffer brush like this. Now the reason I prefer this to a traditional foundation brush is because this has a wider surface, so it covers areas a lot quicker than a traditional foundation brush. And not just that, I think with this you need to do a lot more blending in, whereas because this is a very dense brush, as you can tell, it really blends your foundation in and it's a lot quicker. Now it's also okay to use a stippling brush like this to stipple your foundation in. This particular one I think is from Coastal Scents, I'm not sure. Now this is not as dense as the fat buffer brush. This is slightly more spread out. I like the buffer brush more, but this is another option to apply foundation. Now to make sure that your foundation is evenly blended into your skin, I like to use what do you call this, like a makeup sponge, like a blending sponge. Now another option to this is a makeup blender like this, which is in the shape of an egg. Both of them do pretty well. I mean, after foundation, the next step is concealer. Now I like to use my finger to apply my concealer because I have a lot of issues with dark circles. So with my finger, I feel like I can get a better build up. By the way, your finger is the best tool when it comes to makeup application. Forget all these brushes. But if you're into brushes, then I would recommend something that looks like this. Another option to that brush is this particular one from Mikiaji. Now this is actually an eyeshadow blending brush, but because it's got that tapered dome finish, I would say it's really nice to blend the concealer in and sort of define your T-zone and the center of your nose, etc. After concealer, the next step is powder, and for powder application there are two techniques. I'll start with the first one, which would be a powder brush that looks like this. Now this brush is from Lancome. I'm not sure what the name is. A makeup artist friend of mine gifted this to me. Thank you, May, if you're watching. Well, you better be watching. But yeah, thank you for giving me this brush. But another alternative to this, MAC do one and every other brand does a powder brush like this, but if you can find this particular one from Lancome, I would say it's amazing. Now another option would be, you know, a powder pad like this. Now the difference between a powder brush to a powder puff is that the powder puff gives a lot more coverage, especially if you're using a foundation powder. This gives a very full cover effect to your face, whereas with a powder brush you need to go a few times to really build up the powder finish. So if you want a slightly more light finish, then I would recommend a powder brush. But if you want a more heavy coverage, then a powder puff. The powder puff is also great if you want to throw in your handbag, because after a few hours when your T-zone gets shiny, then it's great to dab off the excess oil. Now all of you who've watched my videos know that I'm absolutely obsessed with contouring my face, and for contouring what I like to use is this angled brush. I've had this for a while and I bought this from Coastal Scents. It's really nice. It costs peanuts and at the same time it works really well. For contouring, I prefer using a brush that is angled and not too wide, because I mean the areas that you're going to contour are the hollows of your cheek, so the fact that it's angled will really work in your favor. It's also great to define the jawline. A very good investment, I would say. For contouring my nose, I prefer using my finger, but if you prefer using a brush, then you can use one like this. This is a U-top eyeshadow brush, which you can use to define the sides of your nose, but I would say use your finger just so that it gives a more sort of natural finish to the shading. The next step is blush. Now, I've seen some people use massive, like fat brushes that is almost the size of a sunflower to apply blush, and I don't understand why you need such a massive brush, because I mean, this is the area that you need to sort of cover, so why do you need such a massive brush? Unless of course you've got like a giant elephant man face or something. My favorite blush brush is the MAC 116 brush. I love the way it's cut. The bristles are absolutely soft and I think it works perfectly, and the fact that it's not too fat or spread out gives me better control over my blush application. Now if you want to apply a cheek highlighter, you can use a cheek highlighter either before or after blush. Off late I've been using a cheek highlighter before applying my blush. Now if I'm using a liquid cheek highlighter or a cheek illuminator, I like to use this particular brush from NYX. It is their eyeshadow blender brush, but I think this is too big to use as an eyeshadow blender, so I use it to just sort of highlight the apples of my cheeks and the highest points of my face. Another option is this tapered brush from ELF. If you're using a powder highlighter, then I like to use this particular one because it adds just the right amount of shimmer dust on the apples of your cheeks, and also this area right here, which is right above the blush. Now once you finish with your face routine, it's time for the eye makeup. Now most eyeshadow bases come with an applicator, like for example Urban Decay Primer Potion or the Benefit Stay Don't Stray, but certain eye bases like the NYX one or the MAC Painterly Paint Pot, they don't come with an applicator, so I would recommend a stiff flat U-top brush like this. Make sure it's nice and stiff. To apply eyeshadow, this would be a standard eyeshadow brush, and this is the 239 by MAC. This is what the bristles are like. Really nice and soft. Now MAC brushes are really expensive in Dubai, but I think it's a lot cheaper in the US and stuff, so if you want cheaper alternatives, I have another one that I bought from Coastal Scents. That this is what it looks like. Now this is one of my favorite brushes which they've conveniently discontinued from Coastal Scents. Like, the reason I love this one is because it's dual-sided. Now with this side I would apply my eyeshadow, and with the pencil top side what I would do is either I would use it to highlight my tear duct, my brow bone, or I would just use it to sort of cut my crease. So it had so many different purposes, but sadly they've discontinued this particular brush. Now to highlight the brow bone, I like to use a flat U brush like this. Now the difference between this and an eyeshadow brush is that the bristles of this one are a lot shorter and it's a lot more dense, because when you're applying color on your brow bone, you don't want the bristles to be too sort of spread out. So I'm big on highlighting my tear duct, and for that purpose I like to use a pencil top brush. This is what a pencil top brush looks like. It's quite pinched at the top, and this is a MAC 219. I think it's from the limited edition Christmas collection or something from maybe 3 years ago, but you'll find a pencil top brush like this in most brands. You'll find. Now one of the most important makeup brushes that you need for your eye makeup is a blending brush, which everyone, whether you're a beginner or a pro, you must have in your kit. One of my favorites is the MAC 217. Now this is a classic blending brush, and this is what it looks like. Absolutely essential to sort of blend all the colors in. Now cheaper alternative to the MAC 217 would be the Sigma E25, and the best thing about the Sigma E25 is that I didn't buy it, I got it free when I placed an order on their website. Another one of my favorite blending brushes is from ELF. It's just called the Blending Eye Brush. I bought this, I think, from cherryculture.com, I'm not sure. It's a little more rounded as compared to the MAC 217, but I really like this one as well. Now make sure you have a spoolie like this to brush out any excess powder or eyeshadow that you might have stuck on your brows. But a lot of the brow kits come with the spoolie attached to it. Like for example, this is a pencil, an eyebrow pencil from Milani, and this has a spoolie attached to the other side of the brush. I would say this is very convenient. For eyeliner application, one of my absolute favorites is the angled eyeliner brush like this. and I prefer something that has a very skinny tip just because I like to wing out my eyeliner, and my tear duct area I usually keep it quite sharp and pointed, so I need an eyeliner brush that is really skinny and bent like this. You can also use a regular skinny eyeliner brush which is not bent, but I personally really like this one. Now a lot of people prefer using an angled brush like this for eyeliner application, which is again fine. I personally am not very comfortable using it, but if you have the hang of it, then this is another option. If you like a smudged eyeliner look, I would say the best option is a Q-tip. I mean, it works wonders. It blends better than anything else, but if you prefer using a makeup brush, then I would recommend a stiff small U-top brush like this. I know that MAC also do one. Let me see if I can find it. Yep, this is the 316, I think. I'm not even sure because this is really old. This is slightly bigger, but I really like this U-top brush to smudge my bottom liner. And finally, last but not the least, is a lip brush, and this one is from Makiaji. And the reason I like this particular brush is the fact that it comes with a cap. Because a lot of the times, especially if you don't get time to clean your brushes, having a guard like this really comes in handy. So that is it, your complete guide to makeup brushes. I hope this video is not as lengthy as it seems to be at the moment, but I wanted to show you a few different options for your choice when it comes to makeup brushes. I'm a makeup fanatic, and so I have collected these, you know, over time. But if I was to pick just the basic brushes that I need to do a full face makeup, then that would be, this is a quick recap, my foundation buffer brush, a powder brush. I like to use another foundation brush like this just to apply powder on my lower lids, an angled brush for contouring, a blush brush, a tapered brush to apply highlight on the apples of my cheeks, an eyeshadow brush, an eyeshadow blending brush, and finally an eyeliner brush. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's just 9 brushes. So it really is not that complicated. So that is it, your complete guide to makeup brushes. So if you've enjoyed this video, then please subscribe to my channel and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever other social network site. I'll make sure to put all the links down. Thank you so much for watching.
Baby, now hold me close.